Okay.
I'm going to start now.
All right. So we're starting now?
We're starting now. We are live from Houston, Texas, in the sunny South. Is Ginger Cook, and what are we doing tonight?
We're painting, John. That's what we do every Monday and Tuesday.
Are we going to paint tonight?
Yeah.
You know, I really think we should start singing.
No,
Those guys
we
get
really
so
don't
much
want
more
to do
traffic
that.
than we do.
I know the singers
more.
really make out, don't they?
They get everything.
Now, you want to turn that sound thing down?
Hey, it's handled.
Are
Are we going to start off already? We're not even 2 seconds into the show.
Well, perhaps you didn't realize that was happening.
No, I never do until it starts talking.
Okay.
Hey, say hello to everybody, Ginger. Hey, we have a special guest tonight.
Yeah, we heard that Robin Coates' sister, is it
Debbie.
Sherry? Debbie's here today. First time ever. So thank you guys for coming, and we want to welcome everybody to our live show. This is a really fun acrylic painting show. We play games. We learned great tricky things.
Tricky things. I love
great
that.
tricky things. You know, I've been doing this for about 50 years, this painting acrylic stuff, and you know, I just sort of my goal is to help you all to get your best acrylic painting skills on, and pass some of this stuff off before I croak, and
thanks. Good talk. Jeez. This is a family show, you know.
Here's the thing. People take a lot of times, people take secret recipes, secret this and that. They take it with them, which is dumb. We're sharing it. And we do it a couple of different ways. We have live shows every Monday and Tuesday night where we paint something with acrylics, or we give you hints and tips, or we just generally increase your acrylic knowledge and skills, okay?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's what we do. And tonight, for instance, we're going to be, I think a couple of weeks ago we talked to you about the 10-minute tree, the lazy artist tree. If you haven't seen that video, highly recommend it. Really gets you down to the basics of trees, because it's amazing how many people paint trees incorrectly. And so now I'm assuming you all have that down, and what we're going to do now is we're going to try an impressionist way of painting trees with lots of colors. There were two different, we're really colorists. If someone said, what kind of artist are you? I would tell you we're colorists as opposed to tonalists, and we'll talk about what that means. And we're doing an 8x10 canvas, which I've already painted sort of a bright orange and dried, okay? So
hey, Andrew's in the house. Say hello to Andrew.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to our friend Andrew, who's one of our students and friends that we've known for a couple of years from gingercooklive.gallery. I find that what we have happen when we get together like this, and when you're a member of our art academy, is we get to know you guys, and it feels like we're all family, and it's really great to just see some of you be able to gather here. Not everybody, because of time constraints or just the time difference on the globe, can come up live, but I'm going to give a shout out to our friend Mona in Sweden, who rarely can make the live shows because it's just it's like in the middle of the night for her, but she gets a shout out just because, right? And
because she's not on tonight.
Well, it's okay, and we want to thank our helpers, John, who are our helpers tonight, Simran
and Wendy. I've seen
and
Simran
Wendy and these guys are what we call channel moderators, and what they do is they allow you guys to be able to chat among yourselves and kind of kick the bullies off, okay? Apparently for some reason there's some people that go around. I remember when I was a kid, about 13 or 14, I discovered vandalism, and there's an age when it's just fun. Don't look at me like that. It was fun, and if you ever did it, it was fun. Terrible thing to do, but it was fun. But at some point, you kind of, by 15 or something, you've outgrown that. But some people just don't seem to outgrow it, and they like to come around and vandalize other people's live channels, which I don't know what they do. They'll put a bunch of thumbs down and do some stuff like, what's gone so wrong in your life that saying something or doing something crummy to me is going to make it better? Have you ever asked, that's what I want to know. You think that you imagine that'll make it better. But that being said, let's give you we've got some exciting new things I've got to show you. So before we start our painting, John, are we down on the?
Well, no, you have to come. Wait a minute, grab the wrong one.
Wrong what?
The wrong screen.
Well,
I have all these different screens now. I get to move things around. It's so much fun.
Yes, but yeah, well, you got it. Maybe you should put some numbers on them, like they used to do on Green Acres. Screen number 1, screen number 2.
Oh, stop! Just stop. You can't do that. They're all labeled, but hey, that's a nice picture. I see that.
Yeah. Now you're going to find this hysterical.
I am not finding it hysterical at all. I am just
you see
totally.
This paint? I actually did this painting, and we can't find it anywhere. We have thousands of paintings apparently here, and it's somewhere in the studio, and we have no idea where.
I photographed it, as you can see.
He's photographed it, so we're going to have to go off my photograph, which is fine. But I'm just saying, would have loved to show you the real deal. But what can I say? We're sorry. But you guys, I'm so excited. Some of you remember my Village series. Anyway, this is what I'm going to paint tonight. And if you're wondering, you got to paint your canvas, 8x10 canvas orange. And it's been, like, see, I think we got a little thumping down here. I'm almost tempted to spray the back one more time. When you spray the back, it just tightens up your canvas. Did you guys know that? And it makes it a little easier to paint on. For instance, well, it's the same theory. Those of you who ever sewed anything, put something in a hoop to, to stretch the fabric, and then it was much easier to, zigzag and machine embroidery on because the fabric was stretched so tight.
Well, you do that when you cross stitch too.
And cross stitch. Now, can you hear the difference? Hear the drum?
I can.
Yeah. So anyway, you want your canvas to sound when you look at that. Hear the drum? That's a boom, buddy, boom, boom kind of drum thing.
Now, is that a CAD red medium they're asking? It doesn't look like it.
Well, it's interesting. And CAD red medium is fine to use. I tell you what, when you do stuff big, did you take my paint away?
I did take your paint away.
I'd like to show what it was. Here's the deal. It's okay. You'll just have to imagine. I'm going to show you what it was. Maybe later. Here's the deal. This is fine. CAD red medium is fine for a little canvas. You start getting up into a 30 by 40 canvas and start slopping on CAD red medium, and it's like a taximeter. The charges go up. It's expensive because CAD red medium is one of your more expensive colors. But Matisse and some other companies make something. This is called Capital Orange, and these are like a gesso that are colored. And in fact, I have a video. We should put a link later, or iCard or something. I have a video on YouTube on colored gesso, and it is worth having. A good gray, maybe kind of a blue gray. I'd have a yellow, and I'd have a red, and maybe a dark brown, because they go on faster and smoother than your regular paints, much faster to do, more even, and it's a nice way to get your basic colors in. So, little tip there. You're going, gosh, Ginger always tells me something new. It's true. So, I wanted to show you, if you haven't seen our Village series, this is so cool. And, we have what we call our European Village series, which you guys probably, the hotel was one of the first ones we ever showed you. And it was and this is the lesson on YouTube. If you go back last year, this is one of our lessons. And these are like little 6x8 canvases, and we have a whole collection of these things. There's that are on our website that you can download and purchase. Okay, you can get the whole village. Well, you guys, we came up with, for the winter, we have a new winter village, and this is our toy store. Do you love it with the little giraffe?
Love it.
Okay, so this is an exclusive part of our Christmas in July special that goes from the July 11th to the 25th. And if you're a member of GingerCookLive.gallery, you can buy and own this, the downloadable directions and video for this, just a couple of hours, for $4.95. No kidding.
Are you kidding me? A whole lesson for $4.95?
But you have to be a member to get it. It's one of our benefits for our members. But then I thought, that we just started down. Now check what I've been working on. This is, you guys hold your breath. This is so cool. Look at this. This is now we're going into our Christmas or Winter Village series. Okay. So this is like a little church, but it doesn't have to be a church. You could just change just a couple things, and it's not a church. It could be a little hotel or something for someone who doesn't want it to be Christmassy, but just likes the idea of a winter village. So you got what we like about the village ones is you can personalize them. Look at that with the little candle here. And then next to it, you see how you paint on the sides, we've got a little gazebo. Is that just darling or what? That's in our what, isn't it? That will be available mid-August for everybody to just being able to download and purchase on our website. They come in sets of 2s. And that's the start. I thought that I would get the Winter Village, Christmas Village, whatever. I'd get that done ahead of time so that you could have plenty of decor for Christmas. And so you can just stand these up like that. They just stand up, or you can hang them on the wall. Too cool. So I had to show you that right away in case we lost feed.
Whoa. Positive thinking over there.
What? Yeah, okay.
We don't lose feed.
No? Oh, don't you love these? I mean, here's the bookstore, the pet store. I tell you what, these are so cute. So anyway, hat shop. So I know a lot of you have started that collection, so you can keep adding to it. All right, now let's just get down to
Those are
attached
gallery
as far as,
wrap.
those are what they call a gallery wrap, and they're a nice wide, they're wide. They're like 1.75 inches wide, and we found a couple places to get them. Okay, so Jerry sold theirs. We bought these ones from Jerry's, and see they've got the deeper edge. Now, I like them. They were a little more than everybody else.
They were considerably more.
Considerably more. But then who had the least expensive ones?
It was Cheap Joe's.
Cheap Joe's. That's
But
a
they
good
never
name.
had them.
But they didn't have them. So it's great to have things that you don't have and say, well, we got the cheapest prices. Well, if you don't have it in stock, then that's kind of like what they call that, a lost leader.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's what you want to do, is get them like this. Though, I'm going to say, I had this flash, right? If you were doing it for Christmas and you wanted a little decor, track with me, you guys, and you did them on thin canvas, you could maybe do 3 and put
A little hinge between them?
little hinge between and make a little screen. That'd be cute, like set it on the table or something. That'd be really cute too, wouldn't it? So, a couple of options that you could do. Just a thought, thinking all the time. Now, we had, if you recall, I've been telling you how much I like these Conti pens, these charcoal pencils. But what I didn't like was I could never sharpen them. And we had a good soul who sent me a sharpener all the way, 2 of them all the way from the United Kingdom. And these actually fit. They're made by Conti and crayons, and they fit, and you get a nice sharp point. So thank you. John will look up the name of the lovely person that sent us that.
It was Angie.
That was Angie, Miss Angie. Thank you. You can't know. And she said, you could share one with your daughter, Cinnamon. Going, not on your life. You didn't get any of these. Are you kidding me? Good
We
luck
have 2
with that,
stereos. They
Cinnamon.
both have to have one.
Yeah, now what I want to do is move my palette out of the way, though here's what we're going to be using. People always say to me, they go, gosh, Ginger, why don't you put the colors you're going to use on the front, on the description? Because we use the same colors, darling. So once you have my colors, you got the colors, right? Yellow oxide, cad yellow, medium purple, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, cad red, medium magenta. Pretty much all white. This is what we do all the time. Same colors, get all these cute pictures. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes we use naphtha crimson, which is your, your primary red, but pretty much that's it. And sometimes mixing white. All right, so now here's our picture, and I want to just say, this is 8 by 10. I'm going to come up.
Now remember, you're in charge of Zoom.
I'm in charge of Zoom. I have a Zoomy thing because John's Zoomy doesn't work, but my Zoomy apparently does. But I have to unhook it or something. Do I have to?
Do I need to come over and show you how to unhook it?
Well, it should just unhook, right?
Well, you have to. Before you don't tear the whole studio apart.
I don't know how to unhook it. Okay, how do I unhook the Zoomy?
It's got. Well, it has to be this way.
Well, okay,
Like
well
a
that makes
clothespin.
it's like a clothespin. That's pretty obvious. Well, you'd have to have done a lot of laundry to get how clothespins work, and I've shuddered that for
You
years.
have to look up there to see what you're doing.
All right, so I'm
This
gonna
one up here.
I'm gonna zoom in. Look at this, right? A little bit.
Zoom out. Or what are you going to do?
Well, I don't know. I'm
Okay.
just zooming. I'm just lost in playing with the toys. But let me just go away. I'm just playing with my zoom. Ha. Okay. All right. Never mind. Here we go. Let's just leave it like this. Can you guys see me? We're gonna come up here about just 4 fingers, 3 fingers here, and do just kind of a little line like that. We're gonna come up here about another 4 fingers, put a little thing like that. Come up here about 3, do a little line like that. All right, you're with me? I think I need a little wider chalk for that. These are the new pastels. Okay, so right about here, which is 4 fingers over, we're going to say we've got our main tree here. This is a bunch of different trees, and what's pretty about this is all the colors. We've got a tree here, and then we've got one back here, see, 1, 2, and then we got one here, kind of in a triangle like that, if you can get that. And then let's draw this one in. Then we've got a tree like this. Remember, trees are wider at the bottom, thinner at the top, and they go all the way off the canvas, okay? So right up from that, kind of on a diagonal like this, you've got another nice big one, like this, and it's about a finger width apart. We're going to come on up here. This is a pretty good sized tree, okay, like that. So here you go, almost 2 fingers at the bottom. Are you zooming in?
I'm zooming out because I want to see the top of the trees, what you're doing.
Oh, well, that would be good. But it's hard to run the zoom and think what I'm doing. It's a lot of zoomy things, right? So now we're going to come down.
I don't know what we're going to do.
It's all right. We'll get a new wire. What do you say that? Okay, so let's keep you updated. You want the local gossip? You guys want drawing in some trees?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so I have to tell you that one of the things I love about having a YouTube channel and audience that I can rant and rave about things, it is really cathartic to do that, you know? To sit there and say, Ginger's new pet peeve of the week is kind of thing. Okay, let's come over here on the top of this one, kind of lean it this way. Here's the thing. When you're, I'll tell you my story in a second. We've all been taught to follow lines, all right? I'll follow lines. So if you have a tree that's going out that way, if you do a branch, your eye's going to whoop out of the canvas. So your job as an artist is to keep everybody in this little rectangle. And you do that by making sure that you don't have any weird lines going off this way and that way, almost like arrows going woohoo that way, woohoo that way. Just keep that in mind when you're doing trees. So we've got this one leaning in a little bit that way. We're just going to trick everybody. So they're going to follow that line. And let's see, there's this one, and there was kind of maybe one in between like that, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees. Yeah? Well, yeah, that's about right. And if we sneak any others in there, we'll let you know. Maybe this one's a little wider down here. Well, that was pretty easy, right? So now the trick with a painting like this is the whole thing about it, is that you're layering colors. And you do one color after another, and you're not really outlining. Nothing is ever one complete color. And remember, acrylics layer over top of each other. Usually you start with your darkest colors and keep going light. But you also start, not to confuse you, but you also start with your farthest things away and come forward. So I would say the thing we want to mix here is we want to mix some of these dark green colors that are going to go back behind our trees. And the reason we painted this canvas this kind of red color, very similar to that Monet we did in the spring, was that we're allowing for some of this red to show through. So I'm going to take a small brush. This is a number 4 bright brush. These are Bristolons, which I quite like. And I want to start with some dark greens. And let's take a little palette knife. Let's take a small one. Let's mix some greens. So we're going to start, we want dark, so what's the rule? Let's just cover the rule real quick. When you have a grayscale, here's a great example of a grayscale. If we were to make this picture black and white, John, can you make me a black and white of this? Real fast? How fast could you make this black and white?
Oh, really fast.
Really fast?
Unbelievably fast.
All right, John's going to make me a black and white of this, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you imagine your picture's black and white, and you're trying, and it doesn't hurt to make a black and white picture of anything you're doing, your reference photo. So if the colors fall on this side, the dark side of the grayscale, and you're mixing color, here's the key. This is so important. If you never saw another thing in this lesson, you could go away happy tonight. Not that I want you to leave, but I'm just saying, right? Start with your darkest color first, all right? So like, for instance, if yellow and blue is green, and you wanted a dark green, you don't start with yellow, you start with blue, and then you sneak in yellow till you bring it up to the color you want. So we're going to start with a little ultramarine blue, okay? And then we're going to get a little bit of yellow, not very much, so I'm going to cut that off like that. Going to put it down here like this, and mix that in, not in the middle like cookie dough. Like for instance, if you're making cookies or biscuits, you always start in the middle, make a little hole, and stir. But when you're painting, when you're mixing colors, kind of creep in at the edge, see how it looks. You can always make more of the color. Let's add a little phthalo blue to that. Now, how about a little brown, tiny bit of brown? That's a pretty good dark green, okay? I like that. So now what you do, once you have the color, is mound it up somewhere. People say my paint dries out too quickly. Well, okay, mound it back up, because I tell you what, when you thin it out, it will dry out. Oh, thank you so much, John. All right, so here's what I'm talking about. So what do we know? Well, let's just compare this to here. See, here's our black and white photograph. Here's our grayscale. So you see all these colors here are following, these greens are all following on this side of the grayscale. However, if the color is falling on this side of the grayscale, like some of these ones in the front, okay, like that, the color you always start with is white or yellow. Good to know, isn't it? White or yellow. Pretty much 98% of the time you're going to use either white or yellow to lighten that color. And start with that and then add your other colors into it. So it's real important to know that stuff. So, all right, so we don't want just one color of green. We're going to make several. So we'll take some phthalo blue this time and some yellow oxide, and we're going to make a green. That's sort of pretty. It's different than the green we just made. That's a nice green, kind of a blue green. Now I'm going to take some more yellow oxide and grab some of this and make it a slightly lighter color. Okay. Now I'm out of that yellow oxide color, which means I need to put more out. Just put out the amount of paint you kind of need, you know. And incidentally, if you haven't been one of our friends that have subscribed to this channel, you want to do that. Did you know that 50% of the people that watch don't subscribe? And you know, nothing terrible happens to you when you subscribe. It's just kind of like when you subscribe to a channel and watch that channel, so you kind of like vote for it, you know. And then the Google search engine says, oh, well, they like her. Let's show her videos more. So you see, it's a nice thing to do. You know, a couple of nice things. So here's another bit of green. Now I'm going to add a tiny bit of burnt sienna to that, which is a little bit of red. And why would I add a red, brown to green? Well, if you need to tone down a color, in other words, it's not so bright, and the farther things are away, they're more grayed, you add the opposite of its color on the color wheel, what you call the complement. So red is the complement of green, and green is the complement of red. So if you have a bright red, you need to tone it down, you can add a little bit of green to it, darkens it. If you mix it about 50-50, you get kind of, and white, you get kind of a gray, some sort of a gray, blue gray, green gray, red gray, yellow gray, whatever, right? Purple and yellow make kind of a gray. Okay, so now let's take some more yellow. Let's come over here. Now look how bright that got in a hurry. That's a little brighter than I want. So I'll take a little bit of the burnt sienna and put into that. But it's still lighter. Do you see that? Still a lighter color. And then lastly, I might take a little white and come over here and add a little white to this. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 greens. You know, rather than just stop and having to mix. So once you've done that nifty stuff, and we'll just put that out of the way here, we're going to move this, and I'm going to come here, and we're going to start by, let's start by taking, I don't know, one of these darker colors up here like that, kind of around our tree. Just sort of sneak around our trees here, which we said was in here, and I think I want a little purple with that. I want a little bit darker, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of purple with that. Okay, and I'm going to come down here and skip a space, add some of this color.
I've got a great question for you from Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. What kind of great question you got?
Does ginger have a ratio or magic percentage of lights, mediums, and darks that a painting should be? 2. For example, X amount of mid-colors, X amount of highlights, and X amount of shadows.
No, I really don't have anything like that, Wendy, but it's a great idea. Wouldn't it be nice if you did? But they do say, what designers say, and that's a whole, designing paintings is a whole great thing. And I've got a book on my Pinterest board, Ginger Cook Live, all one word, and you scroll all the way down and you'll see books recommended. There's something called Painting Secrets or something like that. I've forgotten the name of the book, but it's in there. And basically it's all about how to design a picture. And there is some ratios and rules, just like, for instance, when you're painting a person, like a portrait, you know, they've got these little ratio things, you know, your eyes are so much here and your ears are here and all that stuff. They've got it where it's going to either be a warm or cool painting, and it's also going to be whether it's going to be a light or dark painting. Like kind of very light, everything mostly on this side of the gray scale with some dark, or it's going to be dark with some lights, all right? And you can, you know, it's going to be predominantly one or the other. You generally don't want it 50-50. How's that?
One should be the star of the show.
One should be the star of the show. And remember, here's the thing that people forget is that your eye has a tendency to go to the lightest light and the darkest dark first. And so that should be where your center of interest is. So you can't have some little lone thing off here, like your center of interest maybe is a wagon and a person sitting in the wagon. And then over here you've got a bird on a post, and it's darker and bigger than the wagon, because then everybody's going to, first thing they're going to go to is the bird, or they're going to fight, or you got all the rocks the same color, you know. So yeah, there is a ratio in that sense. You want to, and then also remember, the farther things are away, the grayer they are. That's a good thing to remember for a landscape, is it not? Okay, so let's put some of that color over here. A couple people joining us
late here. What's the background color that we would use?
I would just use cad red medium. That's fine. I use this, what they call capital orange, or you could mix some yellow with it. The reason I'm suggesting you use these, particularly for big, for little canvases like this, it doesn't matter, but it starts to really get expensive when you have a big 30 by 40 canvas and you've got to cover the whole thing yellow, or you've got to cover the whole thing something
with,
else.
With
And
one
so,
of those Series 7 paints.
yeah, so one of my friends, one of my students, she's got some of that junk, and I've got some too. So we're all the artist hoarders here. Welcome to our fan club here, but or hoarders of paint supplies are us. But anyway, I said, why do you have that junky paint up there, the kind we used to teach at painting parties? I said, why do you have that junk, right? And she says, well, I use it for my backgrounds.
It's perfect. I mean, why not?
Well, see, that's the why not. The why not is it doesn't bind as well.
Oh,
That
so
is
you're
the why
thinking
not.
that your professional paint won't bind to it?
It will bind to it, but not as well. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So for me, I just, if I was doing something this size, I didn't care about it maybe, but on a big one of my big masterpieces, wouldn't use it at all, ever.
Well, yeah.
Never. So, but again, you've got to decide what you're going to use it for. What is the purpose of
What's
what
the
you
end
just
result?
painted? What's
Yeah.
the end thing? So you see I've got a little dark in here like that. Now we're going to change greens. And let's see, let's go up to one of our lighter colors. Come up like this, and you see I'm just going to kind of tap this in here like this. One of my little lighter greens here. And I'm just going to sort of sneak in here and kind of layer it. If it's too wet, it's not going to layer, it's going to mix. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to come in here like that and add some layers. And I'm going to have to move this, I think, so I can kind of see where I've got all these
No,
greens.
we don't need it. We have our own.
You have your own, so I'm the only one that needs to see this. So you guys can just deal with whatever you're looking at. I don't know. I don't know what you're looking at. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of white and yellow and come up here and make a third green, a little bit of white and yellow, just in these, right? And let's just say I want a little lighter green right up in here. And then maybe back in between these trees, I might want one, and maybe something with some yellow oxide, okay? All right, so I want you to see what we're doing is we're just sort of tapping in some stuff and we're layering. We'll come back with other colors, but this works for now, right? So we've sort of defined where our trees are going, and let's see, right in here, we know we're going to have a lot of dark colors in here, so let's just come back with some dark green, but is that a tree? Yeah, okay. After a while, it gets confusing what's what. Now I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo blue and white and come over here and make sort of a blue-green. I want you to see that. And so see, look how I changed the colors. Maybe coming over here like that, put some of this blue-green color in. Turn it, the brush strokes are changing. See, I'm kind of coming down. I'm just playing with all these colors. This is really fun because you can be a little bit, it has a feel of an abstract, but it isn't, okay? I mean, it's really impressionistic painting. So what we're talking about is that when we said we'd tell you what a colorist was and a tonalist, before anybody ever decided to grab an easel and go outside and paint, everybody was stuck in the studio. And the reason that was so was because you had to, take the powder, grind the powder into a pestle thing, and then you went into this pig's bladder, and after you'd mixed the oil into the emulsion into the paint, made the oil paint, then you put it in this pig's bladder like a little ball, and you tied it off at the bottom, kind of like a balloon, and then you poked a hole in it, and then you squeezed it out, and then you sewed it up at night. That stuff didn't travel, okay? You're not going anywhere with that. And so people sat in the studio, which is why they always wanted north light. This was before electricity, yeah? So the light, and also they didn't want odd shadows on their still lives, which makes, from the light in the day changing. So the north light was the one that, was the most consistent in the studio. And when it got dark, nobody was painting by candlelight. They all went to bed, okay? That was the end of that.
We want to give a shout out to Carol for the donation. Thank you very much.
Oh, she did a donation? That's cool. That is so nice. I have to thank you guys who have been doing that. That is just a lovely, and I'm just going to put a little green down here too. I want to say that we really appreciate that very much because we're out there at Michael's following the sales, and Eric, I think, was the one that gave me a heads up the other day on this. Michael had a sale last Sunday, 70% off some certain kinds of canvases, which we scarfed up a couple. So we buy it just like you. So thank you very much. And for those of you who said, well, what are they talking about? You can only donate during one of these live classes. And how is it they do that, John?
Down at the bottom in the chat where they type your chat, you have what's called a super chat. It's right next to the emoji guy. There's a little dollar sign.
Yeah.
It's not available on phones, on iPhones. Apparently Android can do it. But iPhones I don't think can do it, or tablets. They're still working on that. And we can always accept donations on our website. We do have a place on our website to donate to our scholarship.
And we just the other day we scholarshiped somebody who is terminal, and has some maybe a year or two to live or less. We don't know, but we went ahead and thanks to donations that came in, we were able to scholarship this lady for about a year.
Yeah.
Because I was, that's it's nice. It's good to have things to look forward to. Don't you guys think so? So we do that. People say, well, what do you do with the scholarships? Every once in a while, there are people, there are students, there are people that kind of need our help, that want to take advantage of the art. Want to take a chance to learn, but they just aren't able to do it. So we appreciate that and try to help them. All right, and we can help them because of you guys. All right, so we're going to take some burnt sienna now. You with me on here? We're going to come down here over the orange. Now, I want you to see the direction of the brush strokes. I rinsed my brush in case you were wondering. So now while I'm doing that, I'm in the burnt sienna mode now. See that? Everything's kind of going slanted this way. And I just want to, can I rant now? Is it my turn to rant yet?
Oh, please, go right ahead.
I want to rant. Okay, so some of you may not know this, but when you get older, there's something called, in the States, there's something called for healthcare, when you hit at least 65, or older, depending. No, though not everybody qualifies for Medicare. I didn't. I had to wait till my ex-husband turned 62 before I could get it, and he was I was like 5 years older than him. And anyway, because he qualified, I didn't. But anyway, and then I got it too. So anyway, right now I've got the Medicare, and so I've never had health insurance like this before. I mean, I think that's kind of nice. Everybody, one time in my life, I think I could afford some health insurance, but that's some years ago. And so anyway, I have it. So Medicare. So I don't really use it that much. But this year, I had gone to this doctor because of some gallbladder surgery. I got to see this guy, and he became kind of my guy. And he kept saying, "Well, when's the last time you saw your eye doctor?" Never. When's the last time you had a bone density test? Never. When's the last time you did this? So it went on and on. So he had made me. Not to get too personal with it, but he'd made me this appointment with this one doctor that took care of feminine stuff, and he said, you really ought to give this lady a turn and go see her, okay? So just on GP, just go see her, but nothing's wrong, but never hurts to, go see people. So now let's see, I think that's kind of running into my green, so I may have to stop there on this one. Don't want to catch the green here. So anyway, I did. And when I got to that lady, everybody else, and you give them your insurance card and they just take it and it's all lovely and you pay your deductible and life goes on. But this gal, that quite wasn't the experience I had with her. And so they said, well, we can do these 2 tests for you, but if you actually want to talk to the doctor, that's different money, and you'll have to pay for that. And because Medicare doesn't pay for you talking to the doctor. They'll do the test, but you can't say anything to her. And I think, that's bizarre. Well, how much is that to talk to her? And she said, well, we don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? I mean, that's, is it 5 cents a minute? I mean, just, is it by the word? Just really, you don't know? No. She'll want to ask you some questions. Let me tell you what one of the questions, because I'm thinking, let's be the last of the big spenders. Let's opt to talk to the doctor. I haven't seen one of these people in 40 years. Let's go talk to one, right? Like I'm here, right? It took 2 months to get in to see her. Let's go talk to her, okay? So honestly, I'm not making this stuff up. You can't make stuff like this up. So and she'll be asking you a few questions. The question was, have you been depressed in the last 2 weeks? No? Good. That was there was one other stupid question like that. That was it, right? And someone else recently, because I'd had all these tests for the gallbladder, they didn't need to run any blood tests. So I think, well, this can't be much. I mean, that's one question, and I answered it. And I had a couple questions to ask her, just generally on getting older and being female. But other than that, just how does this and stuff work? But really, it wasn't that big a deal. I probably saw this woman for less time than I would talk to a gas station attendant. Really, when the time, she's literally in and out, just gone, right? So I'm going to get a little purple now here. So then because Medicare's slow, I don't hear anything for a while. And then it's like 2 months later, I get the bill. And they want, apparently, answering that question, how long have you been depressed, or if ever, the last 2 weeks, that was $500.
Yep.
Yep, $500. And I'm going, well, and obviously some of that was for those 2 tests she did, but that because the question was involved, and I called up and they said, well, you signed that paper saying you understood. I said, yeah, I kind of did. That's true. I did sign it. I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just saying I'm just a little confused how you guys can pull that racket off. Because you could have, I tell you what, how much are those tests normally that Medicare would pay for? Surely like $300. So why don't I give you $200 for the question, and then you can bill the rest of Medicare. Well, they weren't willing to do that. They were just willing. These people threaten your credit and everything. So, after John and I, just gave them some payments and paid them off. Now, here's where the fun part of the story begins. You see, that's not what's bugging me.
That's just warm-ups.
That's just the warm-up, right? You guys ready for this? All right, now I teach art lessons to a very nice lady who's in some sort of war with her daughter right now, okay? And over the daughter's boyfriend, who's, see, don't you love the gossip? The boyfriend doesn't like her, basically. He's been living with this gal for about 7 years, hasn't proposed, and doesn't like his future mother-in-law, and she knows it, and so she had this sort of kind of all-out, got a little white and purple now while we're talking. She got the, isn't this pretty when they put the purple? So anyway, so she's in, and she's not sleeping, and because she talks to her daughter, and I talk to my daughter all the time. I never not, Cinnamon and I fight sometimes too, but it's never fun. You just try to make it up. But so anyway, she says to me, she says, you'll never guess what I'm going to do next Saturday. And I says, what? She says, well, I'm going to go see a therapist to find out why I'm having these problems with my daughter and my son-in-law. And I'm thinking, because he doesn't like you, that would be my guess. But she's not paying, she's just paying me for art lessons, not therapy. So I just, yeah. So what? So really, you're going to see a therapist? No kidding. So how does that work? She says, well, Medicare pays for it. I said, what? Does they do what? She says, yeah. She says, me and my husband, we're going to go sit there and we're going to talk to her about this because Medicare will pay for it. And I'm going, let me get this straight. They're not going to pay for me to talk to my female doctor, but I can go make an appointment with this therapist, and I don't know what these people charge anymore. In the old days, it was probably like $60 to $120 an hour. So I probably could see her for 4 or 5 times, and they're going to cover 100% of that, and I could actually go complain to this new therapist about why my doctor charged me all this money for the visit. And then I would feel like I could get my $500 back out of Medicare. Does that sound like a good plan?
I think it's a great
because
plan.
a therapist apparently is free. So because obviously I'm now depressed because I had to spend $500.
I was fine a moment ago.
But then I saw your bill, and now I am depressed, and now I have to see a therapist, but Medicare will pay for that. How screwy is that, you guys? And don't you think my plan is good? I mean, I'm just saying, right?
Hey, we'd like to thank Karen from an hour ago for making a donation.
Oh, thank you.
I couldn't interrupt you. You were on a roll.
I mean, you got to admit that that's just bizarre, isn't it?
That's very bizarre.
I haven't made the appointment because I really don't want to burn up somebody's time, but it's tempting, isn't it? To say, let me get this straight. I mean, this is what my mother would have called backward. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yes, this is a family show, so thanks for cleaning it up. The censors didn't have to have their finger on the button.
Do you have a button?
Beep.
All right, now let's just take a second. Now, can you see how well this is coming along? We're just chatting, but you see how this is just sort of coming along because we're sort of putting these pictures in. I mean, these little bits of color, we're just laying them in. I think I see a little more green over here, maybe a little light green I want to put there, like that. A little bit of lighter green over here, and we've got some sort of bank here. And at some point, I'm going to have to dry something. This is sort of fun, so I think I will dry something. But I got pretty far, didn't I? And let's see, I want to put some kind of a yellow gold in here, I think. That's going to kind of sneak out here somewhere. And maybe here, too. I think that may be too wet to do it, though. Let's just come down here like that. And I'm always trying to leave a little bit of something showing. But already it's looking kind of pretty, isn't it? Okay, so let me just dry this. And you can...
Wait a minute.
What?
Actually dry it?
Yeah, I'm going to take a minute to dry it. Do you have something... Can you have something you can entertain our friends with while I dry it, John?
Oh, well, I'm sure I can sing.
No
We can
singing.
go into a singing.
No singing.
We'll
I'm
be
drawing.
known as the
Don't-
singing artists.
No.
They get more hits than we do, singers.
Yeah, they
I
do,
think we
but
tie the two
I
together.
think there's a prerequisite with that. I think singing ability is actually required, which is why they get all the hits. They're just not. I'm going to move all this, so don't dry it out. All right, go ahead and tell them about our new special again.
Okay, you're on mute. All right. We are having right now a July special, as Chester and Sammy are showing you. This is running through July 25th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. You can join our 7-day membership for $4.95. Now, come on, people. $4.95 to try out our website of 300-plus lessons, and you're not doing it? I must ask you, why not? Also, for our current members, they can get, if you saw in the beginning of this lesson, the toy shop, also for $4.95. That is only going to be available through the 25th. Then it's going to be off the market until Black Friday on the toy shop. That is for our members, monthly and yearly members only. And, oh, she's back. Wait a minute, I haven't unmuted her, so I still have the microphone. I can sing. Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Mute me, please.
Oh, you're back.
Oopsie,
Wrong
really?
one.
Okay, so
Wait,
all right,
I
isn't
get rid of
this
the
cool?
joystick.
Don't
There
you
you
think
go.
this is pretty? I mean, and when you do something like this, you're not going to do it probably the same way each time, because this is a little bit. This is very freeing to paint something like this, and to just allow these colors to happen for you. All right. So let's put on some. Let's take a little bit of magenta now and white, and a little cad red with it. Okay. Move that over there like that. I think I'm crowded here. I feel crowded. I'm feeling crowded, okay? Okay, I'm going to put a little of this here's some little pink color here, like that, on the trees. Like that, a little bit of pink color. And these are, if you're wondering about these little brushes, I tell you what, my favorite all-time brushes ever are these short-handled ruby satin silver angle brushes. I use them all the time, and I love them. And, a lot of different companies sell them. We kind of are very grateful to the Brush Guys at thebrushguys.com, and I'm going to put a little yellow oxide with that peach, make it almost a peach color. And the reason being is because they gave me an artist page so that our friends could find the brushes. And then you get a 5% discount off of anything if you mention my name. You can't just mention it. By the way, I know Ginger, that won't cut it. You actually have to write it. It's all one word and put it in the coupon code. Let's be clear about that, not to mislead, okay? So anyway, but 5% is very helpful. And like, for instance, they ship around the world. And for instance, our friend Sylvia in Australia, she said she bought all the brushes and they only charged her $25 to get all that stuff to Australia, which I thought wasn't shabby, because have we sent Sylvia her stuff yet?
Shh.
Oh, well, sorry, Sylvia. She was Artist of the Month for July, and she's yet to get her gift. We're sorry.
Well, it's still July.
It's still July. Like when did you hear that rule? When you have a wedding present, somebody gets married, you have a year to give them something? And I like to wait till
we are using that saying.
I like to wait.
What did you post on Facebook today as the lesson? They're getting confused.
I didn't post this?
Apparently not.
Yes, I did, didn't I?
Anne Marie is saying, Ginger posted it today on Facebook, something different. What did it happen? What?
Well, I did show you about a lady that did I showed you one of our students. See, here's what happens. If you're a member, gingercooklive.gallery, you can have your own projects you're working on, and you get my help. Can you believe that? I'll actually help you and work together on your project.
Oh,
Once a
that's
month,
silly.
you can send me something that you want to do. And so one of our students was, had taken a picture, apparently it was her picture or something, a photograph of a woodpecker and some babies in a pole. It looked like a telephone pole or something. And so what I showed you was the before and after. What the picture she sent me, and actually went back and forth several times, not just twice. I really work with you guys. This is really extraordinary. You can't believe what you get when you get personal art coaching. And anyway, she ended up with the most phenomenally great picture, and I posted that. And I was going to tell John to show that to you guys later. Do you see my little bit of pink here that's coming down here on the trees? Isn't that pretty? And I think there's a tree back here that we kind of lost, and I'm going to put a little bit of that on. It's almost a peach color, like that. I'm going to say there's a tree back there, see? Isn't that kind of pretty? Then I always look to see where else could I put this color. and I'll put a little, just a little bit sideways in down here, like that. That's just kind of cool. Now, one of the things that oil painters often do is that they, the paint order that we do with acrylics is different than when you do with a watercolor or airbrushing or oil paints. It's different. And what I love about acrylics is that you can come back and put color anytime. And so we're going to take some white paint, a little ultramarine blue, like that. Make it pretty light, kind of a light blue color, like that. Maybe take a little bit of purple in it, not much. Okay, there's just sort of a warm here, a little bit more white, like that. There we go. And I want to come back up here next to this tree, and I'm going to put some sky back in here. I know that sounds kind of funny, but we're just going to touch some sky a little bit maybe here. Just in a few dots. I'm going to put a few little dots of sky. And I'll put a little of this color down here on the bottom, like that. Oil painters will do that all the time. The reason this comes up, they do that all the time. Let me lighten this up even more, and maybe with a little phthalo blue in it, and more white. Now, I can't do anything with this, so I got to come over here, new spot with the white, and do something like that, more white. There, okay, so let's put a little cad red in that, gray it out. There, this is sort of kind of pale color. I want a kind of a pale gray, and I'm going to put a little bit of light gray in here like that, see? And that's pretty, and maybe a little bit of that color up in here. And then maybe something, just a dot or two, and like that. This is all about layering. And then let's put some of this lighter color, which I liked quite a bit. Let's put that down in here in the front like that, kind of going this way. Like this. Isn't this pretty? I'm looking at that going, I really think, I love stuff like this. I think when you start layering all the colors and it really comes to life as this sort of magical forest. It really does seem very magical to me. All right, let's grab a little yellow oxide now and come up here like this on some of the trees. Here, let's maybe a little cad red medium with it. Kind of warm that up. Pinch it up. There you go, something like that. There we go, just a little bit of that color. You're just talking about little bits of odd little bits of colors, places, okay? Here we go. A little yellow oxide, maybe one stroke and stop. This is sort of like you do a color and then you stop, and you do a color and you stop, and you do a color and you stop. You're going to see how I brought that. And then maybe I want to come down in here like this with this color. Ooh, that's pretty. Just bring it in here like this, over the orange.
Can I ask a side note question here?
Sign-up question, sure.
Woodpecker suggestions. How many of these images am I grabbing? I mean, this file's big.
Well, you're going to grab I would say grab her her first one, and then my suggestion, one of my suggestions, and then her final. Grab her first one, my suggestion, and her final.
When did the final come? Okay.
Today, so that should be fairly easy to grab.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to take some yellow and white now, right? And I'm going to come up here like that because this is a little bit lighter. And I'm going to have more white, yellow. This is where, if you were going to start buying paint, we use the same colors because we don't want to overwhelm you, but I would buy all the different yellows. They're really nice to have. Their primary colors are really nice to have. So I'm going to say, want a little light yellow here, here like that, something coming this way between the trees now.
Deb has got a question. She's been trying to type it in for the last hour.
Oh, gosh, Deb, we're sorry. What you got?
Ginger teaches us to paint from back to front and dark to light. But what if your background is light? Do you still paint it first?
Yeah, you always paint your background first. Always paint your background first.
You're still going from back to front.
You come back to light, and then whatever. For instance, if you've got a light gray and a dark, and then a kind of a medium gray, well, it depends. Like, for instance, the farthest thing away first. So maybe the farthest thing is just the sky, and then you've got some puffy gray clouds, and so then you'd probably paint the darker part of the puffy gray clouds and the lighter over it. But sometimes with clouds, you might reverse that. You might, kind of shade them a little bit. So that's kind of, kind of optional. And then as you come forward, you see we're putting in some of the lights here on the trees. See that? See what's happening here? I'm just saying that there's some little bit of lights on these tree trunks. Look at that. See? Isn't that interesting? How we're doing that, and just maybe a couple of little light strokes here like that. And let's come up here like this, and here's this tree right there. It's not, in other words, we're not outlining anything. You see that? We're not outlining a thing. All we're doing now is just suggesting, trees by, and if I lost some, a little bit of brown tree or something, I can come back with a little red or something and put it back if I've lost a little bit of tree. You can always come back, and because it's dry now, right? If you need to make a little darker brown, I mean, if you lost it, let's take a little purple here, a little darker purple, and if you needed to come back and darken something on one side, you certainly can, right? So it's not like it's written in stone, but generally this is the way you paint it. All right, so now what I've got is I've got to have a branch that's coming off this way, all right? And I think I can do that. We're going to take some yellow oxide, and I'm going to start it at this tree up here, and it's going to be sort of crooked like this. Let's see, put paint on both sides of the brush. You see that? Load your brush, then wipe it off, and then do it twice. Try that, do it twice. Now you go, there you go. There you go, just using this kind of little crookedy thing here like this. Now we're going to come up this way, maybe with a little burnt sienna with it. I'm going to come up here and say here's another branch coming up like this. And down here, and it's not showing up because it's too close to the same color. This and this is too close to the same color, so I want that to show up. So now I'm going to go back into my greens, and I'm going to come under that branch, maybe with a dark green, and so that the branch shows up. Let's start with my darker green. I'm just going to come up here like this. This is why I'm so glad I mixed all these colors at once, and I know I want some dark green here, even darker than that, so I had a little more blue. I want some dark green here, kind of growing underneath like this, because this whole area here is the darker part of that branch, right there. And then under here too. Maybe I need that up a little higher. I think I need to bring that branch up a little higher. I'm going to just do a little one up here like that. Then we'll take a little white, and we're going to say that here's some lighter color. Just the same color blue here, just a little bit lighter. And up here we're going to suggest some sort of tree going across, kind of color going across there. Back with a little green, dark green, blue-green color. So it's, once you get a sense of the greens here, then you can go back into your pile and say, okay, I want something lighter or darker. I want something a little bit lighter here. So you can come back on the top of this and say, I want this a little lighter. And you just touch and kind of layer. That's the secret. You're just touching and layering. Now I want something a little darker blue right down in here.
Melissa's asking a question here about yellows.
Yeah?
Would you buy Indian yellow, Azo gold, and cad yellow light, or just one of the above?
Yeah, if you could afford them, I'd buy them all. Sure.
And
Yeah.
if you could,
I don't teach them with them all because I've tried to keep it down to a budget everybody can afford. What have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 counting red colors with white. That's pretty reasonable. And you can do everything we do, and you see hundreds of pictures we're doing with that. But it's nice if there's nothing wrong with having that other stuff. I'm not against it. But on the other hand, what you've learned here is how to mix colors. Does that make sense?
That's why we don't buy gold.
I've taught you how to mix colors. But I'll tell you with the yellows, particularly some of the light yellows, and there's did you know, for instance, that to make water look lighter, Andrew's going to like this, that there's a very, very light yellow you can own. And she says, well, where was this information when he was painting the other day? I don't know. I'm just saying there is this light yellow that you can buy. This is just almost a white that's actually, when you put it on the canvas, it will look like it's a lighter highlight than actually white paint. Yellow sometimes shows up lighter. Okay, so a little bit of dark blue coming up in here like that, like there. And then a little bit of dark blue down here, a little bit of dark blue down in here. See what we're doing? So this is kind of a fun thing to do. You're finding that picture yet, John? You're kind of getting that together?
My computer runs very slow when I'm doing all this. I'm about to crash it, so I got to go careful.
Oh, yeah, please don't crash anything because we don't want to lose the feed. And again, we want to thank you guys very much for playing with us. And here's the thing. Should we ever lose the feed, here's the secret. We will go ahead and continue to record the lesson and put it on our website,
gingercooklive.gallery.
If, assuming it recorded. And if not, well, you are far enough along where you probably could pull this off anyway. Here's a little lighter purple again, a little bit of white. with that. I want to just do a little more purple.
Judith would like to know, is there a difference in the colored gessos and which one is the best?
Well, there's a difference in the quality. I'll tell you what, I like, if you could only buy one colored gesso, I would sure buy yellow, because that's really expensive to, and this like a red and a yellow and a red, because, kind of a red-orange, because those are two of the most pricey colors, and then Liquitex makes a really, really good black gesso, and it's like a one coat. You put it on one time and you don't see a brush mark. And I used that one time. That covered masonite really well.
What kind was that?
It's a Liquitex makes this it's a black colored gesso. It's really nice. All right. So I'm going to come across here. Now I've got this sort of olive green color. Do you see that? Coming across here like that. And I don't have a lot of that places. I have a little of it down here. There's a little bit of the olive green. I think I've got a little of it.
Now this particular image came from your imagination?
No, it didn't. This was one of my old dead artists that I found. It was a bigger painting, and I just took a section of it and painted it.
And we can't remember who that was, can
No,
we?
it's just because I changed it enough. But no, it didn't come from my imagination. Well, at that point, once I figured out, yeah, kind of in a little bit, kind of half and half. How's that?
Yeah, well, I can't believe that he'd have this many colors in it. Did he or she?
Maybe.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, Sue is asking a question. What is your opinion of the Princeton Catalyst Polytip Bristle Brushes?
Princeton. I don't have an opinion. The person to ask these things to. My daughter Cinnamon is like Goldilocks over there with the brushes. She tried every brush anybody ever made on the planet. I swear. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears looking for the right brush. And she really probably, once I discover a brush that I like, and when I worked at Jerry's, they gave me any old brush I wanted to use, and I grabbed everything and tried them, and I just, if it wasn't a good brush for me, then it went out of my memory like, who cares? No longer it's important to me. So I probably tried one of those, and if I'm not using it, chances are I didn't like it. But I did find these Bristol. Now she did find those Bristol brushes, which are made by the Silver Brush Company, which were one step up from the Rubies, which I did like, but they don't make a short-handled angle. They don't make that. So that's not helpful. Okay, so let's come back up here with a little bit of this lighter color here. Now look, when you have a bunch of paint on there like that, should I zoom in? Is that going to mess anything up?
Can you zoom in?
I give up, can I?
You have to be looking up.
Well, you turned the thing the other way, so who would know? You flipped that thing around, so I can't even see it.
Well,
but never mind.
Zooming, I had to do it.
Well,
Get the bear to work. What's he been doing tonight?
Well, just listen to this whiny voice. My
Here.
goodness.
Zoom it.
Zoom it. All right. So if left is in, out, what?
We just press one. If it's not going the right, go the other.
Oh, good thought. Good thought. Just
And I can do left and right. Just tell me where you're going to be.
I'm going to be over here.
About like yay.
I'm going to be over here. So I want
I
to just
got
say
you.
that there's a branch coming this way now, this way down here, and just using this. Don't you love these angle brushes? You can do these little tiny things like that. Okay, so I've got a little branch.
Rachel's asking, is there a name for that particular very light yellow?
Yes, it's called white and cad yellow medium. But the other yellow I was talking about was I can't remember. I can't remember what that yellow was, though I do own some.
Was it the light yellow?
It's the light yellow. But I tell you what, I've got a thing on YouTube called Adventures in Yellow, and I cover all the yellows. Just go over there and look. And I'm sure I mentioned how much I like it for waves. It'll come back to me. So fun thing about getting older. Yeah, I probably said that at some point. Anyway, I do own it. It's nice for water when you want to do a little highlight. This light yellow, see, it's working pretty well though, isn't it? Though to be honest with you, like for instance, cad yellow light, you cannot mix white to cad yellow light, a cad yellow medium, and get the same shade of yellow as you can with cad yellow light. So that's a good one to have. Just saying, right? You see, I am mixing some white with that. You see how it's making it a little bit lighter? And I want to come down here like this on this tree, like that. And I'm going to put some of this color down in here. This is a real kaleidoscope of colors, isn't it?
This color, where are you?
I'm way down here now. Did I have to zoom back out?
You better zoom back out because I can't keep up with because you're not going in a pattern anymore.
A pattern. What's this pattern stuff? Who paints in a pattern?
Stop.
How's that?
Perfect.
Back.
Look at that.
Okay, there. Pooh.
You're good.
All right, I'm going to take a
Hey,
little.
Anne Marie would like to know, why is it that Ginger can not clean her brushes between all these colors and not get mud?
Because the secret is, why do we get mud? This is the $1,000,000 question. Is because, did you remember when I dried? Because you will not get mud as long as you kind of hang out with the same group on the color wheel. But you can't cross over here. You can't take green over wet orange or orange over wet green and get anything with mud. So when you start crossing the line with complements, then you get in trouble. So as long as you're playing in the same family of yellows and oranges, you're fine. Does that make sense? But if you're not doing that, here.
It was Naples yellow, isn't it? A Naples yellow.
Naples yellow, yeah, I think so.
That's
Naples
what I
yellow.
thought it was.
Naples yellow. I just forgot.
They're all saying it was Naples yellow.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but see, this is looking. You know, I might like this version better than that other version that I did. You see what I mean?
The one that we can't find?
Yeah.
The collector's item?
The collector's item. Yeah. So incidentally, speaking
here's
of
a good
collector's.
question. No, wait. Here, no, I'm sorry. This is really a great question.
Yeah.
Can you remember what you're going to say?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Would Ginger recommend spending money on different shades of primary colors? Would that be the best investment?
Well, there's only 3 primary colors.
I know, but the different shades of them.
Well, like for instance, yeah, reds. Yeah, like for instance,
Because
sure,
you use
that's
like
a
2 or
good
3 different
investment.
reds, and you have
Sure, I
the
like,
magentas.
for instance, like alizarin crimson is a great red. It's like a wine-colored red, and quadrichrome magenta is a kind of a must-have color. You can't mix that. And phthalo blue green shade is a great color. Ultramarine blue. Now, I don't buy a lot of blues, but I do have a thing on YouTube called Adventures in Blues, and I got every blue that Jerry's had, and we tried it out. And, you know, a lot of people like cobalt blue, or you'll see that, you know, something like that. I was not such a big fan of that, but that's not to say that I'm right. Just for me, because I can find I can mix most of these. With these 2 colors, I can mix so much. So that's part of my thing, is that the reason I'm not such a big fan of some of this. All right, we're going to lighten this up. Remember, the light always comes from the top of this. Going to lighten up. Here's another light color here. That's pretty. Look at that. Isn't that kind of neat? Let's make it a little greener. Come back over here like that. Let's just put that in here. There we go. So, I mean, you know, and you see how we've kind of pulled this whole painting together with very little, right? Let's see. Now I'm just kind of looking back in here. I want some sort of a grade green. Just a little bit of white, but most of my white's gone. Let's see, something like this. I think there was a little light right back in here between these 2. I think it was more of a blue-green, though. It's
Hey,
fun
you know what we haven't done yet? And you know how long have we been on the air?
I give up. How long?
Well, let's just get a quick look.
What
here.
haven't I done yet?
You have not rolled the dice yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't roll the dice at all. Oh, we always play trivia. So, all right, this is not just any old channel. We entertain here. This is art trivia, you guys, and it's called Stump the Artist. And we'll let you all have a chance to comment. John won't read out some of your names or your comments, but I'm gonna roll the dice. We have 6 categories of questions from this art trivia game we found on Amazon, and we play it with you every week. And I just basically, it's fun it's humbling because I don't know anything. But anyway, let's go.
You do pretty good.
All right, we got a 1 here.
A 1? Man, we haven't had a 1 in a long time. That's a who.
That's a who.
We love the who's.
That's a who question. A 1 is a who question. All right, good to know. I'm going to go back. While he's looking for the question, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to start putting a few little darks back. So you can, the thing about something like this is you can go back and add some darks if you need to. All right, don't forget that you can do that. Let's see, we had some bushes coming over this tree like that, coming up this way. And let's see, we had a little bit of kind of a blue-green color coming up here. This is a real fun one to try to learn how to mix all your greens, isn't it? Because if you had to buy all these greens, it would make you crazy. So let's just come up a little bit with that, a little bit lighter green up in here like that, on this. Okay, on the bank. And let's see, that was a little bit lighter right there too. So what's our who question, John?
Okay, here we go. What was Rembrandt's first name?
What was Rembrandt's first game? Now let's think about that for a minute. You remember who Rembrandt was? Can you think of what that's of course that's a name you've heard of, Rembrandt, but you know, can you remember what kind of stuff he painted when he lived? That kind of stuff. Do you remember that?
Okay. I have choices for you.
All right, what's the choices?
What was Rembrandt's first name? Carl, Rembrandt is his first name, or Peter? What?
Boy, that's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah. What was Rembrandt's first name? Carl, Rembrandt is his first name, or Peter? We have nobody responding yet. Well, it takes them a minute to catch up to us.
It takes a while to catch up with us.
Yeah.
Rembrandt's first name, Carl, huh? Okay, so I'm going to do some brighter greens right here in the front, like this. Just put
I
a
like
couple
that
here.
question.
That's a good question, because I mean, I'm just what was that? Remember that years ago they had
Kim Sim says Carl. Kathleen says Rembrandt. Lori says Rink. That wasn't a choice, Lori. Diane says Carl. Tony says Rembrandt is his first name. Rembrandt. Wendy's Rembrandt. Gail's Carl. Karen's Rembrandt. Carl. Rembrandt. Sue's a Rembrandt. Kathleen's a Rembrandt. Hans is a Rembrandt. The guy made money but lost it all.
well, Rembrandt made money and lost it all?
That's according to Anne Marie. Suzanne says Rembrandt. Tony says I answered John. Mary says Rembrandt. Jan says Peter. Karen says Rembrandt. I don't really know, Kim Sim. Very good, Kim Sim.
You know, I'm trying to think of that too. You know, of course he was
Diane says Peter.
What nationality was he? Does anybody know? But I think he was Italian, wasn't he?
That could be a bonus question.
He was Italian.
That'd be worth an extra 1,000 points if you can say the nationality.
I think he was Italian, but I don't think he was French. I think he was Italian. Okay, but I could be wrong. And I think he hung out with I could be wrong though. I mean, I know that he was Italian. Why do I think he was Italian?
Lynn says Rembrandt. Ginger has a large spot between the third and fourth tree.
Which from right to left or left to right?
Well, it's right in the middle.
Here?
Right there. That one it just blatantly smashes you in the face.
This one right here?
That's from Jane. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we didn't put. There's another tree that goes back in here like this. We got to put that one in.
Dutch.
Okay.
Dutch, I thought.
He was Dutch?
Dutch. No. Dutch.
So if he was Dutch, that sounds like a Dutch name, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't sound like an Italian name.
Rembrandt? No, it doesn't sound
And
like
they
Italian.
were they were all named after Catholic saints, those guys. So, I don't know. I guess I'm going to go with it's his first name. I'm guessing, though, you guys. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I honestly don't know.
I thought you would know.
Well, you'd think I should know. Wouldn't you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going
that is his first name. Rembrandt is his first name. Rembrandt Hammerzeen Zoom van Reelen. Really need somebody from Dutch to say that.
From Dutch to say that, you
From
mean
Dutch.
Holland?
Well, from Dutch. From Dutchland.
From Deutschland?
Deutschland.
Well, that would
No,
be
that's Germany.
German.
You can't do that.
Okay.
Which is so silly. Why do they call that Deutschland? Well, anyways, for those that guessed, Rembrandt is his first name. Take 1,000 points. Add that to your collection. And if you said Dutch, grab another 1,000. That was a 2,000 question.
Wow, that was good, wasn't it?
That's a good question.
This is a pretty color palette, by the way, isn't it? What we're doing here?
Yes, it is.
And you're talking about that?
You're doing great.
Put a little more
John,
white
you or
out.
Ginger, please pronounce the rest of Rembrandt's name. Sure. We did the best we could. There, Nancy did it for me. She wrote it out. Look at Nancy's text there. You guys can say it. Harmenzun von Rijn. I have no idea. I mean, that doesn't have enough letters for me to say that.
Okay.
Rin.
Well, there's a writer. Her name was Victoria Finley, and she wrote this fabulous book called The History of the Color Palette. Okay, and basically she tells you where paint came from.
Where paint came from?
Yeah, and one of the problems is that just like even today this happens where someone will be a good cook, and they won't they won't want to share their recipe. They got a recipe for brownies, and good luck trying to get it out of them. They'll take it to their grave rather than share it with you, right? I mean, you know those people, all right? I mean, and then, certain, but back in the time of the Dutch master, they always call them the Dutch masters and the French master painters and so forth, and the English master painters. Nobody was sharing anything. Nobody was telling anybody anything. This little purple here, by the way, in case you were wondering what I was doing. So if the English got into such trouble at one point back in the, around the 1700s, they got in such trouble that their paintings were starting to turn black in the museums because people had lost the formula for varnish, because they weren't even, artists might have a varnish and while he was alive, maybe he sold it or whatever, but he took the formula to his grave. Let's get a little bit dark up here now, a little dark blue. Trying to put some dark colors back up under here like this. We're about done, you guys. You guys thinking this was sort of fun?
I think it's sort of fun. Comments have been, I love the colors. I love all the blues. Blues are the what? I love all the blues for watercolor. Oh, the blues down there? Yeah.
Yeah, there's blue down in here in the water. Yeah, just sort of
This
reflections.
painting would make a great Xmas card.
Oh, yeah, it kind of would, wouldn't it? Okay. So, anyway, and so people were not sharing stuff. So you had to go apprentice under, a master artist just to learn how to make the paint, mix the formulas, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, they started getting farther along. They started having art schools. But even then, people were very reluctant to share what they were doing. They just didn't want to do it. Okay. So, I mean, I thought that was sort of interesting. It never occurred to me that it would be like that, but apparently it certainly was. Okay. So let's see, we got a little bit of light here, a little bit of light here. I'm just checking our lights and darks here, you guys. Maybe it's a little bit of purple and white here. There, I like this little bit of purple right here. And I had some magenta. We had some pretty magentas in here too, didn't we? I think I'm going to just kind of probably call it quits right now for this. And just, I could probably play around here for a little bit more. But incidentally, we want to just say that if somebody asks how they can share artwork with you, you're not a member, you want to just want some bragging rights. You went to the trouble of watching one of my tutorials and you want to do it. Well, I do have a Facebook page, ginger.cook.92.
Yes.
And the reason is by the time I got around to Facebook, most of the words were gone, so. But nonetheless, if you want to have something, if you want the fun of sharing something that you've done, that's, we're always happy to see it. Sometimes if I have time, I'm not always excluding people. There's just so many hours in a day to put stuff up on Facebook. We had some people have taken great advantage of our $9.95
or $4.95.
$4.95 offers. Normally $9.95 per week, but through now in the
25th.
What?
25th.
The 25th, you can you can become a member of access over 300 lessons. And people say, well, is that just one per lesson? I said, no. We have over 300 lessons on the website. And we just did this fabulous, and I really say it's great, it is a video just on how to do brushstrokes. It's not a painting or anything. It is just, this is how you might do some clouds, the different brushes and what you can do with them. And it's an hour and a half. I mean, I really spent some time getting into really making your brushes work for you. And I would highly recommend that, that it's one of the back to basic lessons that we have. And if you're just, it's a good review too, for those of you, even if you already know, it's an excellent review. Okay.
Hey, we'd like to thank Anne-Marie for the donation.
Oh, Marie, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And anyway, I think this is kind of, has us a little bit going for it here. One thing about it, if you want something to show up, put a little dark underneath it. So see how this branch didn't show up. So I'm putting a little dark purple underneath it. See, that made that show up. And then I might even see, I'm pinching the brush. I'm not rinsing it, but I'm pinching it like this. And then I'm coming this way. And lighten up this little branch right here. And I think I want a little branch coming off of this way too. Okay, like that. There's a lot in here. We could have done a lot more branches, but we didn't. Okay?
We had a question in here.
Oh, I have questions.
Oh, is white gesso from the home supply the same as gesso from the art supply?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I have no idea. But I'll tell you what, there's some really crummy gessos out there. By some people that I was shocked they made such bad gessos.
So I would tread lightly when it
I'm
comes
telling
to
you what,
gessos.
I found some gesso one time. I'm going to just tell you. Should I just tell you?
Oh, go
I
ahead.
found some just crummy gesso. It was so bad, the art store gave it to me. They couldn't give it away. You know, and it was a store brand too, and you know where I used to work. So they gave it to me. It was so thin and crummy, right? And so then I found Hobby Lobby had some Winsor Newton white paint on sale one time. Big tubes like this, but Winsor Newton kind of student grade. There were 3. They were put on sale, and those were so thin I couldn't do anything with that. So I dumped all the white paint into the bucket of gesso and stirred it all around and got something that sort of worked. So you don't save money by buying cheap gesso. You just don't. So then who makes a good gesso? Golden Paint makes a good gesso. Matisse makes a good gesso. Liquitex makes an excellent gesso. Maybe some other people do, but you know, I haven't found I have personally found those to be. I mean, I don't have time to go around. I am not rich enough to keep making these spending mistakes, buying crummy stuff that doesn't work. How's that? You like that? I'm not rich. You know, I just don't have enough money to just be practicing finding all the stuff that doesn't work when I find stuff that works. And who was it? We went out to dinner the other night. One of our friends invited us over to their house, and I just for dinner John and I, they just moved in. It's really nice too. I've got sort of house envy now. And she was telling me about some sort of grocery store that was really cheap. I mean, just so cheap it was
Aldi's.
so Aldi's?
Yep.
And they have their own brand of food. And then your deal is you go buy their brand and see if it tastes like anything you recognize. And you might have to go through 4 or 5 different boxes of crackers before you find one that sort of resembled the Ritz that you liked in the first place. How is that cheaper? I just don't know. How is that cheaper? Unless you just like a treasure hunt, gosh, I think I'll do that. You think you'd like it, that kind of thing. I don't know. I just didn't see how that was cheaper. But, she felt it was. Here, let's put a little yellow in here while we're talking about it. Just put a little yellow down in here. Yeah, I forgot my yellow down here in the water.
Tony loves Aldi's. It's one of those places either you love it or you hate it.
Well, I think you have to. You just have to look around and see it. But
my boy loves it.
And then Cinnamon told me, now I'm mad at her too. I'm going to just Cinnamon, my wonderful daughter. Well, it's not her fault. We're going to hold her responsible anyway. It's not her fault. She told me that Tuesday Morning was now selling art supplies. Well, define art supplies. So apparently, how that store works is they buy a bunch of stuff up, gifty things. Mostly, I've been shopping there for years. Great gifty things, little knick-knack gifty things. And every once in a while they close the store down for a week or two, and then they stock up with more things that companies that went out of business or some store that closed. They bought up all the stuff, so you can get some great deals at Tuesday Morning, no question about it. That's an American store. So, but she said they were now carrying art supplies, and they had some of the silver brush line in there. So, but I guess that was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I went over there. John and I went over last Sunday to see, and we found one sad brush. Remember, the package was open. You had that brush. This is what we found. We got it for $1 or something, but you got to consider the time we got over there. And then there was there's like 4 or 5 of these stores within 20, 30 minutes from us. So then, which I haven't been to in years. I usually just do Christmas shopping there sometimes for little knickknacks or Christmas ornaments or something. And then we went over to this other one, and we were beating the clock trying to get there before they closed on Sunday. We drove up right to the front door. The woman saw me get out of the car and locked the door.
We still had 3 minutes.
We still had 3 minutes and locked the door and walked off on us. Really, that was the one.
So ask us if we're ever going to go to Tuesday Mornings again.
Yeah, so that's it for them, man. But anyway, I think that it was a closeout thing. I don't think I didn't see that this was like their new life mission was to carry art supplies. That's all I'm saying, right? Okay, let's see, that green's dried, so if I put a little red in there, see how pretty that looks? Green's dried. I can come back with my underpainting color. Look at that. Put some back in. All right, I'll put my brush down and stop, and we'll sign it. I just thought this was fun. What else was I going to show you? Oh, well, I don't have any. My hands aren't dirty. You want to see something really neat? Come on.
You-
Can I show them something really neat?
No, do it tomorrow.
No, I'm doing it now. Can you guys? Don't you want to see it? Can you see my hand? Yeah.
What
yeah?
are you doing?
I want to just see. I want you to see this. You see that? See my hands?
No,
Okay,
just put
now?
your hand under the camera.
Can you see my hands? Here, cans.
No,
Hands.
not that camera.
This hand. This can. This can. See
Let's
that?
get this away from you, though.
All right, see my hands like that? See that? Now we're going to do that. You're going to love this. This is so cool. This is not that different. Now we're going to take the hairdryer. Are you ready for this? You're going to love this. All right, we're going to dry my hands.
This is taking finger painting to new levels.
All right, I want you to see this, you guys. You're not going to believe this. I have found the neatest thing, right? I'm going to dry that on there. Now, this honestly is my normal state of affairs a lot of times after I've been painting all day. I mean, you know that. Maybe this has happened to you. Some of you don't want to admit it, right? Well, where's my stuff? Oh, so I found, honestly, nobody's paying me to say this. I just have to share this with you. These are called Tubbo Towels, heavy-duty cleaning wipes. I got these on Amazon. Now, check this out. Out comes the little wipey, one, like that. Now, look at this.
You can see it's already coming off.
Yep, look at that. I'm telling you what, you know how I normally clean my hands with one of those little green sponges and a scrub brush, and I sit there and I kind of brutalize my hands a little bit. This actually opens up into a bigger towel. Look at this. Now look at, I'm telling you, that is so cool. And
Put your hands further out.
This is if you are an artist and get stuff all over, and then somebody says, hey, let's go out to dinner. This will be fun, and you think, yeah, okay, but, you know, I've got some time, or like, I think I'll just grab one more because I really kind of overdid it. But look at the, look at the towel. All right, look at the towel. Look at that. And it'll also clean off, like on here, like this on the pencil. It'll take that paint right off this pencil, even though this is dirty. It'll clean this pencil up, too. It takes dried, we found it took some dried paint off a chair that had been on there forever. All right, and it's got the aloe in it and stuff, so it doesn't hurt your hands.
Aloe, vitamin E,
and vitamin E and something else,
lemon.
and so your hands feel great after you use it. I promise you, this is cleaned up the paint off my watch. I was just pleased as punch with this stuff, and I thought, you know what, I got to tell everybody about this stuff. This is when you make a good product. Nobody has to pay you to tell you this stuff. You want to just shout it out, you know. And
They smell very nice. No bleach.
yeah, there's no bleach in that. It's
doesn't
very
smell bad at
soft,
all.
and it just, you know, then you just sort of, you know, take a clean towel like this and just
I
wipe
couldn't
off.
tell. Let's see your hands now. Put your hands out.
Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that impressive? You know, and then here, there's a little bit right there, and that'll just take
Wait,
that
go
right
down
off.
further on your arm from when you painted earlier this morning.
Yeah,
too.
from you know, see, I think I had something here from earlier. Do I have anything? Oh yeah,
Yeah, right
see?
there.
Right there. See, this just
And
takes this
that's
off.
been on all day.
Yeah, that's been on all day. I think I missed that. Well, you know, this happens, right? And look, there's a little bit of red right there. It'll come out right under your fingernails, and this towel is still moist. It's really moist. Then you're feeling a little bit inspired to go clean something else. Like here's the top of that. I'm just saying, it works. What else can I show you? This. I mean, I'm just telling you. Is that paint right there? Let's see if find something with some paint on. Oh yeah, here. Just clean the top of this brush. See?
So now we can read the label again, know what it is.
Yeah,
when you
if
ask.
we didn't wear it out, you know.
Could you bring
sometimes
the tub back out so they can see the Tubbo towels?
Yeah, this is called Tubbo Towels, heavy cleaning duty wipes. They're 100% solution-soaked, durable fiber weave, large 10 by 12 size, industrial strength formula. But it's got the aloe and the stuff in it, and it's death on acrylics, right? You know, if it's acrylic, it's removing it. How cool is that? I mean, I'm just telling you, that is just nifty keen, isn't it? Yeah. There, nifty keen. I bet. Now, just for the fun of it.
Oh
Here,
no.
I'm just saying while we're talking. Any other questions while we're cleaning?
Yeah, what was the name of the brands of gesso, colored gessos that you recommended?
I like Goldens. I like Matisse's, and I like Matisse makes a whole group of gessos that are just for. Here's this neat little thing I got from Andrew. I can clean that up. He's probably horrified. Gosh, you know but you know this little thing was just so I could put water in it, right, and rest my brush. But you see, it's coming out. See the blue on the towel? So if I just laid this on top of there, like that, and just let that soak, that would just, you know, lift that up in a minute. So yeah, so Matisse, Golden, and Liquitex, those are my favorites. Not to say someone else doesn't make a good gesso. I've just found enough that didn't work. And then, oh, this came up the other day. This is real important, you guys, too. Besides telling you to subscribe if you haven't, here's our last little pitch. Somebody was painting something, and they wanted to paint out. They didn't like what they had done, and they were going to gesso over it. You don't. Once you've got your paint on, you don't. For instance, if I wanted to repaint my little figure, I don't, but if I did, this little guy here, I wouldn't gesso over it. I would just paint him out. The gesso is just, all the gesso is a barrier between your fabric and your canvas, and it's like a plastic seal so that it doesn't leak through, okay? And after that, and it makes somewhere for your paint to be, and a surface for your paint to be on, okay? What I'm going to bring these back, I wanted you to see again, I want to talk to you about our new release that's coming out. We'll have these by August. This is our, of course, the toy store is available now. If you're a member of gingercooklive.gallery, you can downloadable lesson, $4.95, too cool. And then here's our, this is our newest, I promised last year I'd do these and I didn't get around to it. Our newest collection of European Village. This is the winter one, okay? Here's a little church. Like that, though it could be a hotel, wouldn't have to be a church, could be anything. I couldn't decide what to write on the sign. I finally wrote Sunday 9 a.m. That could be anything. It could be brunch for all you know, right? It doesn't have to be anything, but whatever you want it to be. You can, customize it. And then you see here, you go around the edges, and here's our little gazebo, and they go together like that. Isn't that cute? So anyway, these mid-August, we'll have these available on our website for download as part of our Village new Winter Village series, and hopefully by then I'll have some more too, and I'll share them to you as I do them.
Cindy would like to know, will you be doing a tutorial on painting on luggage?
I have a tutorial, Cindy, on painting on luggage and how not to do it too, because when John and I bought these really cute suitcases, I don't know if cute's the right word, but they were, okay, the last time we went on a cruise, like the first time John and I went on a cruise, and you're having to haul your luggage like practically all over the boat for when you're leaving. It's a long haul, literally. And some people were just with a little finger were pushing their suitcase, and the rest of us are taking a bag like we had rocks or something. I was going, what have those guys got? And they had those nifty spinner wheels. They just touched it with their finger, and off the little suitcase went. So I said, I want one of those suitcases. So we found some small carry-on ones at Costco and painted them. And I have the right and the wrong way to do it. How's that?
I think that's great.
So we do have a long explanation. Yes, we do have a video on how to do that.
We haven't posted it anywhere yet.
We haven't posted it. And remember, if you're a member, and John's not kidding, we gave you this as a special. Normally, a set of these what do we normally set? Our members do get
$17.95.
$17.95, and so we had this one for our members, monthly and annual members of Ginger Cook Live for $4.95. Okay, but
Yep.
here's the thing.
And that's going to disappear.
That's going to disappear. That's after the 26th. This will go back in the vault, and we'll bring it out again on Black Friday.
And just until Christmas.
Just until Christmas, because that's a special edition. Though we will have more of these. I'm hopeful I'll have at least 2 more in the Village set. So it's a total of 6, maybe 7, 8. So many I think can get done and still get the regular stuff done. So.
Has Ginger ever used interference paint? It looks different. It looks different colors when viewed from different angles.
Yeah, I have. That's pretty. Interference paint's really pretty. I don't use it a lot, but it could be pretty. I'll tell you where. Oh, where's my peacock for tomorrow night? You guys want to see what we're painting tomorrow night, right? Okay,
Let me
so
get it for you, boss.
hey, get it for me, would you? And listen, did you guys get a chance to do our snow globe last week? I mean, if you haven't done this, this was our YouTube lesson for last week. And then on our website, we have this lesson. The snow globe is a downloadable lesson to go with it. Snow globes, you can start making a whole collection of snow globes too, right? And then are you ready for what we're going to do tomorrow night? This was my week of color. All right, you ready for this? Let's see. This goes this way. Yeah.
I handed it to you right.
Yeah, there you go. And I varnished it so you can see how the colors are coming out. John varnished it. We varnished it. The collective we. The Queen varnished it.
The collective we.
Well, it's just like, you know, the guy over in England, you know, the prince over there in England
Yeah.
that tells everybody he's a gardener, but he just says, plant the flowers there, please, you know. We varnished it. Just how that works. All right, isn't that pretty? That's going to be sort of it's the peacock feathers in sort of an abstract form, all these beautiful colors. That's what we're going to be doing because, where's our other peacock, John? Why are you sitting down? What peacock? No one said you could sit.
I have to adjust the screen.
I mean, last week we did this peacock, and some of you really had a good time with this, and I was pleased at the response this got, okay? So here's this peacock. Now look how pretty these make us, see how these would look very nice, you know, in the same room together, because you've got, basically we've taken one of these feathers and really just blown them up, okay? So we thought that would be really fun to paint, and if we're going to do that tomorrow night. And what size was this canvas? It was a 20 by 10, right?
Yeah, the last week's was an 8 by 20.
Yeah, this was
Is
an
it-
8 by 20, and this is a 10 by 20. You can see just slightly bigger, but either one would work. See that?
It's about 2 inches bigger.
That's what it is. Yes, 8 and 10. That would be correct. But you know, you got to get. He's smart, fast on the uptake. So we want to thank everybody for playing. And again, I want to just remind you guys that if you haven't had a chance to, you know, check out what we did last week. You know, we give you guys some great lessons, and sometimes time goes by and you miss a week and you didn't see all the good stuff we're doing. And we've got some fun things that we've done. For instance, like how many of you ever wanted to paint that? Did you know that I have that lesson on YouTube? And no one's ever seen it. I know it was our fault title, whatever. It's actually on a bag that you can paint, you know, like on luggage, you know, by the way. But that's the Van Gogh Cafe. It's the most famous one. And we've got a 5-part lesson on how to paint this on YouTube.
But nobody watches it.
Nobody ever watches it. And it's a great lesson. This is really neat to do. All right? Just saying, okay? And then if you're a member of gingercooklive.gallery, I haven't seen any of these keys come back, you guys. And everybody thinks, well, that's got to be really hard. It really wasn't. You know, some of you guys that are past the 1 and 2 cookie level, I'm surprised some of you haven't done one of the keys. We've gotten a lot of these. Now, this is one of my favorites with the lemons and the lilacs. That's a tutorial, you know, about a 2.5 hour tutorial on our gallery. So if you want to check, if you're one of the people that want to do the 300 lessons and pick something, that's a fun one to do. So we got stuff, you guys, not to just put too fine a point on it. So if you enjoy, you know, this is tomorrow night's, and we hope we see you back then. And of course, we always are interested in what you want to paint and what you want to know. So if you want in the comments below, if you say, answer some of these questions for me. I'm tired of typing in questions that nobody answers, and maybe we'll answer them on the show too. Incidentally, you don't really put them together. You just hang them separately. See how you can see around the corner now, and you can see the little window. You kind of space them out like that. Isn't that cute? So anyway.
Is that it, Ginger?
That's it.
You did it in under an
I've
hour
run
and a
out of
half.
steam, but I was excited about my towels. I had to share that with you guys.
You did marvelous.
Thanks.
Sammy would like to remind you, subscribe. Hey, we'd like to thank you for joining us for another fun-filled, fact-finding acrylic painting tutorial with Ginger Cook. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Good night, all.
Night. Bye. Night, Sammy. Night, John.
Night, Ginger. Night, Sammy.